But we begin tonight with a Detroit judge off the bench after sparking outrage across the country. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Mike Duffy. 7 News Detroit broke that story that led to the removal of Judge Kenneth King. The teen he punished for falling asleep in his courtroom during a field trip ended up in handcuffs and jail clothes.
Well, tonight her mom is speaking out about the action taken against the judge and the impact of all this on her daughter. 7 News Detroit reporter Ruta Olsonida is staying on top of the story she uncovered Tuesday night.
I spoke to the chief judge here at 36th District Court. He told me that when he saw the video, he knew he had to act quickly. So now Judge King is temporarily removed from the docket, and that teenager's mom says it's the first step in their own sense of justice.
Don't play with an upset mother, because you told my daughter don't play with you in your courtroom, and so you can't play with the citizens of Detroit and an upset mother.
Latoria Till welcoming the news coming down Thursday from 36th District Court to temporarily remove Judge Kenneth King and have him go through cultural competency training. It's all after what happened to her daughter.
She just don't give a care. I'm tempted to give her some days in jail as a lesson.
On Tuesday, 15-year-old Eva Goodman was on a field trip with a Detroit nonprofit to the courtroom. She was irritable and she was falling asleep. So to teach her a lesson, Judge King placed her in handcuffs, a jail uniform, and threatened jail time. Latoria says the family currently does not have a permanent place to live, so Eva was off that day, the embarrassing ordeal scarring her.
She is having trouble sleeping at night, and so she keeps thinking about the effect, she keep going over and over and over.
Chief Judge William McConico says he spoke to Judge King and there was an internal investigation, but King still stands by his actions of trying to discipline the girl. So he has not apologized.
I cannot say what happened with Judge King and the young lady and her mother. There's been no apology to me.
Latoria says she hasn't heard an apology either, and this community believes she deserves to hear one.
The judge owes not only that child an apology, not excuses and not doubling down, but an apology not only to that child, but to the entire community. This can never happen again.
We spoke to Judge King Tuesday, but have not heard back since. Do you understand their frustrations about how that was handled?
I don't know. I would think that if that was my child and that happened to, I would be embarrassed by my child's actions.
Detroit police also do confirm that Judge King has been receiving death threats and they are investigating. In Detroit, I'm Ruta Olsonida, 7 News Detroit.
All right, thank you so much.
Judges kick people out of the courtroom all the time. And that was a point that Sweeney made, like, oh, somebody gets loud. Well, yeah, they kick them out and tell them to leave. They're not arresting people every time.
Yeah, but is that the SOP? Like, I get it. Y'all keep bringing up, just kick her
out. It
wasn't.
That's why they told him to step down, because they said it was a different way.
That's the guideline to handling somebody. I think that the guidelines is reserved in the discretion of the judge and where he see fit on how he chooses to exercise his power. And I think we're just trying to police a judge. So I'm still shocked that we got this. We look at this age 16 as a layer of security on, or the way to show this maximum amount of grace for this type of behavior. When these same 16-year-olds can go out and have kids and all this other shit, but then when they get in the courtroom, you say, "Oh, they just 16, don't know how to behave." But like,
do you have a 16-year-old though? I have one.
I think, I think so. So one of the reasons that we chose the school that we have our kids in is we had an interview, right? And in the interview, the director of the preschool said this, and I was like, okay, I'm good on it. She said, "We believe in little boys and little girls are two different creatures. They're two different genders for a reason. They should be treated differently accordingly, right?" She said some schools believe that little boys should sit down and have the patience that little girls should have, and they should act accordingly and act the same as little girls. Little boys do not act the same as little girls. She said little boys can be rambunctious. They have more energy. They're more daring. They're more fearless. They're more harder. They're harder to contain versus little girls in the preschool age. If you don't believe that genders play a part in especially those formative years, those high school years, something is not wrong. This is why society is the way it is, right? Because they think that man and woman should operate exactly the same. They think that man and woman is equal. They think that man and woman are exactly the same. And if you think that, then I understand your argument of saying that a 16-year-old boy and a 16-year-old girl should be treated the same. They're not the same, just like a child is different from an adult. So I think we all understand. I think everybody on this panel right now is saying that we all believe in discipline. We all believe that the children of today's age, 2024, especially Black children, are out of control. Nobody is fighting that argument. But what we are saying is there is a thin line between humiliation and absolute ridiculousness when it comes to authority and making sure that you hold a 16-year-old accountable for their actions and letting them know this is not your home. I'm not your mom. I'm not your dad. I'm not your grandmother. What you do at home is not what you're going to do in this courtroom, right? There has to be some decorum, and you're going to come in here and act and have some common sense in your head and some couth about you while you're in my presence. I'm saying that. I'm not disagreeing with that point. Okay, so the chat is blowing up and y'all soft and y'all the reason why we in the predicament. I don't know what y'all talking about. I got 3 brothers and ain't now one of them ever been to jail.
Maybe I can explain what they probably mean. Like whenever y'all make statements like women have this different energy than boys and emotions and all that stuff, y'all eliminating the upbringing and the influence that parents can have on these children to make them like that. As if y'all making it seem like they genetically are disposed to a certain type of preference or the type of way they handle things. Whenever parents are responsible, and it's our job to shape them and condition and program them into the type of people they're supposed to be and grow into adults. It's really our fault. Like they don't come out like that. They learn habits and behaviors and traits from us.
So Darwin, there's studies done on 3 to 5-year-olds on how a 3 to 5-year-old little girl would act versus a 3 to 5-year-old little boy would act. It's very clear. It's very clear in developmental.
How the parents act?
What?
Does those studies on the 3 to 5 boy and girl, does those studies include how the parents act? So you can rule out the mirroring behaviors or habits that they pick up from the parents. Because I got a 2-year-old right now, and I can tell you that
Go ahead.
If somebody did a study on my 2-year-old right now, it said this boy's different than this girl, and then they look at the father. They looked at me. They're gonna be like, okay, now we see why he's like this. It's not that he's different from her; it's that he's been conditioned and programmed by his father. He's picking up traits and habits and behaviors from his father, and now you can see the contrast between him and the other children.
Do you have any girls?
Darwin? I don't have any girls.
You got a daughter?
No, but I'm planning for one now.
Yeah, they are different than the boys. I swear they are. I understand what you're saying about your child is gonna mirror you and be as disciplined as he can and be a model example child. But they operate differently than the boys.
If you have multiple kids, they all can't be the same as you.
So,
and
are we suggesting that if that was a boy that he did that too, that we would be responding totally different?
No, I'm not saying that.
No.
The
conversation just kind of segued into
that. So what
I'm just asking.
The reason why I made that comparison is because you kept saying like a 16-year-old is the same as an adult. I believe that there's differences at age groups as well as genders. I don't believe that kids at all ages are all the same and they all process things the same. They all have the same cognitive skills and levels at the same age. I do not believe in that. Do I believe in discipline? Yes. Do I believe in accountability? Yes. But I do believe that there's a difference at those ages and those age ranges.
Well, do you believe that if there was a boy in that situation, and he was raised by that same parent in that same condition in that same household with the same circumstances of being deprived of rest, are you saying that that boy would have not mouthed off at the judge or went back and forth with the judge and caused a ruckus like that?
No, it probably would have been 10 times worse.
So basically, it would have been the same.
Because I mean, it's been studies on that boys process being deprived in different situations of poverty. They process things more outwardly as far as anger, as far as how they address the world and how they show up in the world. They act out versus how girls a girl may be more attitude or mouthy, but a boy may be more violent in his outward
regardless of the gender, given you put boy and a girl in the same situation, they're gonna be the same.
It's still gonna be disrespect.
The outcome could have escalated even further. Because, let's just say hypothetically, what if that girl said, "I'm not taking my clothes, or I'm not changing my clothes"? Now, how would you feel if your daughter said, and like, what would have happened if she just refused? Because I'm just thinking, I know my niece, she definitely would have been like, "I ain't putting it on." So now what? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, you saying a boy wouldn't?
Is that disrespectful? Because she wouldn't change into the uniform that the judge said she had to?
Like, are we having to say that women can be more disagreeable than men? That men are more logical and more rational with their thinking? Like, I'm so confused because all of the conversations we have,
even if all that was true,
they still tie. Women are disagreeable. They're irrational. They're emotional. They're short-term response based on the current circumstance and not long-term circumstance as far as their outwardly expression. Like, this is stuff that we talk about on this panel every day. Now when we talking about children, everybody don't know what I'm talking about. Everybody confused. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Boys and girls are the same.
No,
what are we talking about?
That's not the point. Why? So all those things you just listed, all of those still come with consequences. Every last thing that you listed.
They can come with all the accountability and consequences you want, Sweeney. We all agree with you that that the girl should have accountability. She should have been ripped out of the group and out of the pack. She should have been shown that this is not a situation that you want to play with. But some of us, not all, some of us are saying the handcuffs and the putting in a jumpsuit for a 16-year-old who was on a field trip, who is not there for a scared straight situation. That's a whole different situation. If she wasn't there if we find out, if Lapeef finds out and pulls up a clip that they were there on a field trip for a scared straight outcome, now that's a whole nother.
Yeah, I don't got no problem with it. If it's scared straight,
and they would have expected that.
So what if? He wanted a little viral moment. He said he wanted to have that scared straight moment. And so that was on the judge, and that's why he got that punishment that he got. He got extreme punishment as well to have him sit.
So y'all don't think that this type of behavior the judge showed to a young child, minor, y'all don't think that if that is common thing, it'll be actually a positive thing for young kids growing up as far as getting them to behave and take consequences serious?
Darwin, when I was 9 years old, I was walking out my house and the police was doing a drug raid. When I was walking by, they put me on the wall too and pointed a gun at me. I hated the police more than ever my entire life. What I'm saying is
different situation.
No, you saying listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. In that experience, instead of being in fear of or understanding that, hey, this process can get you locked up or these could be the outcomes, only thing I took from that is these motherfuckers is dirty and they are bullies and I hate them. I'm sure that's what that girl took about that situation.
Take yourself out of it then. Look at our community at large. Look at the crime and stuff. Look at the black on black crime, all this other stuff, what we predisposed to growing up in poverty and all this other shit. You don't think that if we actually we already don't get it from the household. I think we can agree on. I heard a number of people say on the panel that parents are failing and stuff. So you don't think that if judges would be more like this to young minors, that this could actually a small percentage, just a little bit, fix some of the problems in the community.
Absolutely not. If we
They're
talking
not
about scared,
psychologists.
we talking about scared straight, Darwin, then I agree
No,
with you.
I'm not talking about scared straight. I'm talking about
If they just go into
this
a
is how we
room,
go. When you could expect to be put in the jumpsuit if you get out of line.
I understand what you're saying, Bruiser, but has everybody seen Lean on Me? Like, has everybody seen the movie Lean on Me? There's a way to rule with the iron fist, but still have
He
compassion.
locked the school doors.
He still had compassion for his
That's
students,
not
Sweeney.
compassion.
Yeah, individually.
What?
Individually,
Are we
he handled
seriously gonna
each
sit
person
here
for
and
them.
Have you
we
seen
gonna
the
sit-
movie more than once, Sweeney? Have
Yes,
you
and
seen it more than once?
we're talking about somebody that was that harsh on his students, and we're gonna say that teacher, what he did, and you know what's crazy? Look at how all the parents around him responded to him. So if that was real life,
I don't
he would have
care.
lost his
I don't
goddamn
care.
job.
I'm not even addressing the mom
if that was-
crying and the parents. I really don't care. We're talking
But that's
about the little girl and the action of the judge based on how whatever she did in the courtroom. I'm telling.
It's the same thing.
I brought up the movie. I brought up the movie because I feel that there's a way you can have both. You can rule with an iron fist and still have compassion for a 16-year-old girl who
some kids for not even being able to make sure that they can sing the school
not
song
some
right.
truancy situation and not some truancy situation and a 16-year-old who been in and out of jail. Like let's deal with what we're dealing with. Don't talk like we're talking about some 16-year-old that's in and out of jail and the judge is like the last stop. Like, all right, the buck stops with me. That's a wrap. I'm tired of this. I'm done with this. We're not talking about that type of situation.
Let's
That's not what it is.
All right, we got to transition, Sweeney. We got to move on to the next topic. We'll be on the same topic all night, man. All night.
All right, man. I'm a respect the host of the show and not get out of line and let that man run his show the way he wants to, like that judge should have.
Put him in the way he said respect.
No, Marcus.
Yeah. Do you like the way he used the term respect and the way he inflected his voice? I think that was disrespectful. Lock his ass up. Lock him up.
Orange jumpsuit, bro.
I guess a 16-year-old attitude was worth losing a job or stepping down.
He didn't lose his job.
Nah, he's just gonna get training. He's gonna be fine.
Let it go.
Casey, you there?
Damn, so you actually thought he lost his job? It sounds like he was
Not lost his job. That position he stepped down. He's been removed from that position right now. I guess for his EAP program or whatever they do. I've been working in HR for 20 years. They making him go through counseling and stuff so he can come back to his role.
What if he was a white judge?
But that's what he got to go through though.
I think it's relevant that they use the word to address the underlying issues that he's having. I think we didn't pay enough attention to that part.
I paid attention to it, the underlying part. It was a power trip.
Issue was a single mom.
I can't believe we sitting over here using the principle from Lean on Me as an example of a model.
We moved on from that.
He would have lost his job. He would have lost. They would have nailed that nigga to the cross.
They were trying to get him to lose his job technically because of the way he was trying to protect the kids. Technically, he was going extreme.
Come on now.
He was going extreme. That's what they wanted to fight.
I wasn't here, Sweeney, but I heard you talking. I heard you running your mouth.
Move on.
We all have friends.
I heard you running your mouth.
I'll start saying.
If we are strong, I know that we somebody to lean on.
Rob should have been laughing at all of this clown behavior.